Welcome back to my series, Dance Mums Uncovered. Thanks to the show, the cast members of Dance Mums were thrown into sudden stardom. And while this resulted in many opportunities that most of us can only dream of, fame also required a lot of sacrifice and had irreversible consequences. Because there was more to the cast's fame than the producers cared to show. Feel free to share your thoughts on the following evidence. First, let's look at social isolation. Last year on her mother's podcast, JoJo said that she usually only has around 3 friends at a time because she's been hurt by people before. In fact, she has also admitted that she used to have a fear of teenagers because she had the feeling that they didn't like her.
But now, I have 3 friends, max. I don't like to keep it very broad because it's just, I've been in the position where I've been hurt. And so I actually, for 2 years, until December of this year, had the biggest fear of teenagers.
And you yourself are a teenager. So
I'm a teenager. Yeah, and so I had no teenager friends. You don't like me because of who I am and what I do. I just know how teenagers work.
When Maddie made a guest appearance on the Just Between Us podcast, she mentioned that it was really strange for her to go to school in the 2nd grade, because kids who used to bully her tried to be her friend and would sing the Dance Mums theme song at her. Similarly, Chloe apparently had a rough time transitioning to middle school because there were lots of people who wanted to know her just because of the show. Chloe also remembers that people were freaking out when she started at her college, but she felt like she kind of tuned it out and was oblivious to it.
I was in 2nd grade. I went in and all of a sudden the kids at school that were mean to me started trying to be my best friend, and they would sing the theme song of my show when I'd walk into class.
The first few months there was rough because everyone was just not genuine.
Yeah.
And they descended upon me like vultures, and I was just excited to have friends, and then they all turned out to be just wanting to know me, and I was like...
Was it like that when you started college?
I was kind of just had my head down and was doing my own thing. It wasn't until a year later that I was talking to people I used to be friends with.
Yeah.
And they were telling me stories of how everyone was freaking out when I came.
The mums have also discussed how fame had an impact on their kids' friendships and dating lives. At one point, Kelly mentions that she regrets putting her kids in the spotlight, especially Brooke, because she had trouble with people trying to date her just because she was on the show. Brooke wouldn't tell people at her college about the show, but sometimes when Kelly visited, people would recognise her and treat her differently. Jill says that, like Chloe, Kendall also had to work out who her real friends were. In one of Kendall's TikToks, she recalls a strange social situation where she was made fun of by a rival golf team for her swinging technique, but then they turned around and told her teammates that they were huge fans of the show.
Do you regret putting your kids in the spotlight at such a young age? I think I do, especially with the teen dating. Brooke, she had a hard time with that.
Do you think that Brooke had experiences, because she's older, had more experience of people wanting to date her because she was a celebrity?
Yes.
I'm quote, a celebrity on a public eye.
You have to watch that. She wouldn't tell nobody she was on a show or anything. But when I would come, people recognized me. She hated it. She hated it because then people wanted to treat her differently, because they were oh, you were on a show. And
she had to navigate through who her friends are, girls and boys who like her for who she is.
Next, let's explore privacy invasion. When the show suddenly grew in popularity, the cast members had to get used to losing their privacy. Melissa and Christi, for instance, had to be lookouts for one another when they went to the bathroom during competitions to stop kids from taking pictures of them from under the stalls.
Melissa and I used to go to the bathroom during competition days, and we would literally be lookouts for each other while we peed because people would put their phones under the stall and take pictures of us.
Cathy, on the other hand, was harassed at home. She says that she had an old lady who would call her in the middle of the night. She would insult Cathy and sing nursery rhymes at her.
I had an older lady that she would call all hours of the night. 3 o'clock in the morning, this lady would be like, "You're such a bitch." I can't stand it. And I'd be like, oh, you, huh? She would call and she would sing nursery rhyme songs to us. Oh, she was out there.
Although Sophia wasn't on the show for very long, she also experienced a spike in fame around the same time as the rest of the main cast. It got to the point where the numbers performing before her wouldn't go on stage because they were trying to watch her and take her photograph. She says that it was really stressful because if she messed up, people would upload it to Instagram.
Literally no one was showing up for their group dances in the other two rooms because they all wanted to come watch me. The room was completely full. And I looked at my mom, and 10-year-old me literally was like, they're waiting to see me fail. Like, if I didn't nail everything, it was on Instagram. It was like, everyone was talking about it.
Although Sophia's road to fame was quite different from that of the other Dance Moms girls, it's quite likely that they would have had a similar experience due to the popularity of the show. Evidence number 3, online drama. Some of the cast members from the show have been involved in a lot of drama online, which has caused them to experience a lot of additional stress and negativity. Last year, Kenzie claimed that she gets a lot of hate for stupid things online. She goes on to say that a lot of the things she is hated for are things that lots of teenagers do. While it's true that some of the criticism is blown way out of proportion and based on things that she can't help, it's also true that some of the criticism is justified based on her past actions. Even before she received tons of criticism for being a proud Trump supporter, Kalani declared on Jess's podcast that she finds cancel culture really sad. After she faced this backlash, she maintained that everyone needs to just chill out because people online are still learning and growing.
I feel like I get a lot of hate on social media just for like stupid things. I'm just a normal teenager. I do normal teenager things. So it's just like, you guys are doing the same thing.
I don't understand why everybody's trying to cancel everybody.
I know,
like, let's
and
all
Maddie's
just chill
like,
out. I think that everybody should realize that everybody has different opinions, everybody's growing, everybody's learning.
Although JoJo makes it seem like she doesn't care what people think of her online, in a recent interview, she said that 2 years ago the world hated her.
The world that I have around me now is so supportive of me. And 2 years ago, the world hated me. But now they like me.
Furthermore, in one of her TikToks, she reveals that she was made fun of all the time for her hairline, for looking like a giant toddler, for being Meme of the Month in October 2018, and that she has had many experiences where strangers shout awful things at her in public. The fact that her brand is to ignore haters and repress the sad emotions that they cause probably makes it really hard for her to express her feelings. Lastly, Abby once claimed that colon cancer didn't kill her mum, but instead that it was caused by the world and the media talking about how vicious and horrible Abby was.
That's what killed her. It wasn't the colon cancer. It was the world, the newspaper articles, the TV articles talking about me and how vicious and how horrible I was.
This claim, of course, probably seems insane to many people, because her health was deteriorating even before the show. However, I would not dismiss it entirely. She never did an interview talking about the show, which makes it impossible to know for certain whether Abby's portrayal had any kind of negative effect on her health. 4. Humiliation. Another issue with fame that the cast has experienced is the fact that their most embarrassing moments have been distributed all over the world for anyone to see. Maddie, for instance, is very embarrassed about her use of makeup during her dance days. She mentioned that the ab contouring that they used to do was especially embarrassing. As someone who now has a makeup palette, it's totally understandable that she wants to be recognised for her current makeup looks, rather than the ones she created when she was 8.
Looking back at some of my old dance photos, I am so horrified and embarrassed of what I did to my face. I was like, I can't believe how much contour I put. Like, our dance teacher used to make us contour our abs.
JoJo has expressed embarrassment over the contents of her YouTube channel. She said on her mum's podcast that part of her wants to erase know-it-all Paul La from the internet.
Are there any YouTube videos or Dance Moms clips that you wish could be scrubbed from the internet?
Like, there are things that I'm like, JoJo, why'd you do that? No. Example A, know-it-all Paula.
One of the people who has received the fewest benefits for her public humiliation is Dawn Check. She has explained that she is still suffering professional repercussions for her scene in the first episode of the show. And even though she created so much drama for the first episode and had her reputation ruined, she did not get paid 1 penny for her appearance.
I still, how many years later, 10 years later, suffer professional repercussions for being on that show? And everyone's like, how much did you get paid? Was it worth it?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Not 1 penny did you
Nothing.
get paid.
All of these people seem to have struggled with the fact that everything that gets put online or onto a television show is permanent and cannot be changed. The show's insane popularity also means that their most humiliating moments will be played to the masses and shaping the way people view them for years and years to come. And finally, we have the psychology of fame. The most difficult consequence of fame to understand is the way it affects a person's mentality. Fame certainly doesn't impact everyone the same way, but it seems like a lot of the girls from Dance Mums struggled to come to terms with the strain that fame puts on your mental health, especially at a young age. JoJo has said that it's really cool to be considered a superstar and to know that she can achieve anything, but she also often asks herself, why me? She knows that the people around her are there for her, but feels as though no one can fully understand what she's been going through.
Anything that I can dream of doing, I can do. I can make it happen. Also, like, why me? Like, why out of everyone in the world, but who could be doing this right now? Why me? And it's, for me, the hardest thing is that as much as people are there for me, and as much as people have my back and love me and care about me as I do them, nobody fully gets it. Like, there's just some little piece of something that you just can't understand.
Cathy has confirmed that it's really weird being on a reality show, because reality and the show's reality are blurred. She sees it as an acting job, but still found it really hard to play the loser all the time.
Being on a reality show is mind-boggling because there comes a point where it all blends and you don't know if it's real or it's not. For me, it was an acting job. You know, it was disheartening when you would go week after week after week and you had to be the pursuer and you had to be the big loser and all of that.
Chloe has revealed that being on a reality show caused her to always think about acting older than she actually was. Perhaps this is the result of an experience that Maddie and Kenzie describe, where they said there was a lot of responsibility and pressure that came with growing up in the spotlight.
From the moment I was young, I was always like, probably because I was on a reality show at 9 years old, but I was always thinking about being older and being more responsible and like being an adult and like all of that.
Do you feel like the pressure to like be positive role model all the time?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely like a big pressure and it's a lot of responsibility.
So what do you guys think? Do you think you would deal with these issues in order to achieve reality TV fame? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.